I'm
going. Right, stream is live as a test.
It'll take a few seconds for it to.
Yeah, it should do. Just say it's live. Yeah, it's come up now. This is a test. Testicles. Test.
Slightly, you need to be slightly louder.
I do.
Yeah.
Are you loud enough?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Yeah? It's just me that needs turning up. How is that? Is that better? Or is that too loud?
Like a bit, slightly bit more, maybe like to -3, -2, something like that.
What the heck? How's that? Or should I just whack it up full? And then
Try it at full.
I've tried it at full now. I'm going into the red when I talk a bit too animated.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. You might need to turn me down to like 12 because my mic's quite loud.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Yeah, you're still hitting the yellow for things. Good morning, happy Sunday to everybody, and welcome to the next round of the CRS Ginetta GT4 Championship. With me is Ryan. How you
Good
doing,
morning,
Ryan?
everyone.
How you doing,
Yeah,
man?
not bad, thank you. Yeah, I'm alright,
Good
thanks.
Sunday. Hope
Doing
everyone's got their tea, their toast, bacon sandwiches, whatever you're doing on a Sunday morning. Thanks for coming back and joining us for this next round at Zandvoort. Currently, there's some cars out on track for practice. But Ryan, a lot's happened since the last round that we streamed, which will have been, it wasn't Hungaroring, obviously, but the race before that, which was Zolder. A lot happened at Zolder, and then quite a few things happened at Hungary, didn't they?
Yeah, Hungaroring was a really good race. We had Tom Mould coming first in the reverse grid race at the start, the sprint race. A really good victory for him. I think he ended up coming fifth in the feature race.
That's right. There was a couple of people that really shone out at that particular race and showcased some skills that I don't think we've seen yet in this season. And it was a really good race. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, just to clarify, we didn't stream Hungaroring due to some other outside issues, but we are reporting on that for you now, and then we're going to showcase the next two races here at Zandvoort. So yeah, Hungaroring, let's take a quick look at the points, Ryan, and we can chat a little bit more about it in detail.
Yeah, so if we're looking at the start sprint race, the start off of the 20-minute reverse grid, it was actually really good. Hungaroring got some really good sort of racing. It's hard to overtake, but really good racing still up close and personal. We had Tom Mould coming first, getting the 10 points for the win, followed by Ryan Brown in second, E Green third, Coleman Corkery finishing in fourth, Daniel Chavez in fifth, Ian Hall in sixth, Richard Evans in seventh, James Haskell 8th, Ian Richards in 9th, and Tam Hamill in 10th there.
Yeah, and then on to the main race. Obviously, a difference in terms of order. I think from qualifying, it was a wet qualifying session. Yeah, there was a couple of different people on the podium for the second race.
Yeah, the second race did give a few different people on the podium you haven't actually seen yet there. So we had Daniel Chavez finishing in first, getting the full 30 points for the victory, which is actually quite heavily boosted him up the championship position at the moment, so he's looking quite good. Followed close second by Coleman Corkery. Third place we then had James Haskell, who as well has actually really climbed up the ladder now in the championship. After the following races, he's doing very well. Fourth, I had Ryan Brown finishing there in fourth from 20 points. Fifth place, Tom Mould, after finishing first place in the reverse grid, so a bit lower there than he probably expected or wanted to be. Ian Hall finishing sixth, E Green in seventh there, Richard Evans in eighth. Ninth place, Ian Richards, and in 10th place, Tam Hamill there, finishing the 8 points, just to grab him the 10 points total there for the finishing bonus as well.
Yeah.
So all some pretty good races there. That race, it was a really good time.
Absolutely.
Just unfortunate we didn't have the replay, but well.
I think the big question is, Ryan, how does that make the championship look as we look at the championship table now?
So following after Hungaroring, if we're going off there, so after the Hungaroring race, we actually had Daniel Chavez leading the championship with 132 points, followed pretty close behind by Ryan with 114 points, so not too far off. Third place then Coleman Corkery. Fourth, Tam Hamill, followed very closely behind by James Haskell. It drops off a bit then by 20 points to Ian Hall, followed then by Dustin Jeffries. Then Ian Richards, who is very close behind, is a list of 4 drivers. So we've got Richard Evans, Tom Mould, Gerhard Alcam, and Ash Knight, who are very close behind there. So a bit of a mix now in the championship, but after Zandvoort, I'm sure you will see a big difference in the championship.
Absolutely. And so, with Hungaroring discussed, we're going to move over to our first round of Zandvoort. So, obviously, Zandvoort, our first race of today will be the reverse grid. What's your thoughts on the reverse championship order race? Where do you see people being this weekend?
Well, so it's going to be interesting to see, because at the start of the race we're going to have, I believe it's Ian Richards at the start of the reverse grid. So hopefully he can sort of try and keep the position at the front. It'd be really good to see if he can get some points out of the reverse grid.
Yeah.
I think it's followed closely there by, I believe, Tam Hamill possibly. So that would be interesting as well, because Tam's a very good driver. So he'll probably want to try and get past.
Yeah. Great. Well, very quickly, guys, we're going to just hop to another advert break, and then we will be back with the first round of the racing here at Zandvoort. Be back in just a sec, guys. Hello, and thanks for that. Welcome back to the first round, the Zandvoort race here. Sorry, the first race here at Zandvoort. Sorry. Currently sat there watching James Haskell go around in the number 12 car. So, Ryan, first of all, this series is sponsored by 3Drap, of course. And you've got to tell us a bit more about 3Drap?
Yeah, 3Drap, awesome company, really, really good. Provides some really cool sim gear and equipment for all you guys out there. Mods for handbrakes and brake mods.
Yeah.
All really awesome stuff, so go check out, guys.
Go and check those out, guys. Absolutely. So here we go, Ryan. Guys, setting up for the rolling start for the first race here at Zandvoort. We've got Ethan Green at the top of the field here, leading that pack away, with Ian Richards behind, Dustin Jeffries in third, Ian Hall, who usually looks to make some pretty good inroads early on in the race, he's in fourth. Then you've got Haskell in fifth, got Tam Hamill in sixth, Coleman Corkery in seventh, and Ryan Bount right at the back in eighth. Of course, this is a reverse championship order grid, so currently these guys are all in reverse championship order. So Ryan being your leader in the championship at the moment. No sign of Chavez for today's race, Ryan.
No, it doesn't look like we're going to be getting him involved today.
No, so that does look like that might give Ryan Brown the advantage going into the next few races. It might give a few other drivers the advantage as well.
So just watching here, everyone's dodging and weaving, trying to warm those tyres up. Of course, these tyres don't have tyre blankets, so really, really important to get those tyres warmed up.
Absolutely. You see Ethan there working away at the wheel quite a bit, and yeah.
Really got to swing it side to side. Leaping around the last couple of corners now. We're getting ready to start. We're starting to form up in the side-by-side formation.
This is going to be a really
speed.
good little race from these guys, I feel. Not many cars on track, but that does not negate from the driver skill in this field. 8 cars battling it out for the win as they come to the start-finish line now. I'm going to wait for that green flag to drop. Green in the front, Richards in second, Dustin Jeffries in third, Ian Hall in fourth, and they go across the line. Green flag has dropped. We're looking to see who makes that first move. Looks like we've got Ian Richards getting squeezed a little bit there. Dustin Jeffries actually tapping him on the way through, and that squeezed Coleman Corkery a little bit as well. And we've got a car gone round. There's 2 cars gone round at the back of the field. We've got Dustin Jeffries and Ian Hall. Ian Richards, sorry. He spun round at the back there. Really unfortunate. He was trying to make some good inroads there, Ryan, and that's cost him.
Yeah, unfortunate start there for Ian Richards. He started second place. I think he's just got caught up there in the mix coming out of turn 2. So hopefully he can claw it back maybe throughout the last 20 minutes of the race. A really good start from everyone otherwise. Looks like we've got a couple of people moved up a few positions. Ryan's up there in 6th. Ian Hall's dropped down a few positions as well. Hoping he can get focused and clawing as Ryan Brown's making a move on the inside there of Coleman Corkery. That was close. That was almost a tap there. That was so close.
Well, going down the inside again, he's really trying to make that move stick and actually gets on the grass on a little bit. That's going to give Ian Hall a chance. Dustin Jeffries doing a really great job in third. And Haskell doing a great job in second. We don't know where he's come to get second there. But that's a good little moment for those guys at the front. As we look at the tension behind, we've got Ryan Brown losing at the back end as he comes through that corner there, and then through to the final corner. The final 2 corners on the first lap, and who we're going to see cross the line first. So that's got Coleman Corkery. Is that Haskell now in the lead?
I believe Haskell has moved his way up to the lead. He's done fantastically well to get up to the lead.
Green is at the back, unfortunately.
Looks like he's had a bit of a moment somewhere.
He's had a bit of a moment, and that's actually given Haskell a bit of breathing space. So this is not something you usually see.
That's about a 1.5 second gap, I'd say, so he's got a bit of breathing room.
But Dustin Jeffries is going to really try and close him down, I think. And Ian Hall behind. This is the battle we want to see, I think, Ryan. This is fantastic racing from everybody. A few first laps in, and we've got Ryan really, Ian trying to hunt down Jeffries and probably get past Jeffries this early in the race and try and chase down Haskell. I think, if we look at seedings, Haskell and Jeffries are much slower than these guys behind, and so it's a question of whether the faster guys can catch up and make some inroads here.
Yeah, I've heard from word of mouth though. James Haskell's definitely found some pace in the car. He's definitely sort of on par, I'd say, with some of these higher seeded guys. So I'm hoping he can hold his own and win this out. But I do expect Ian Hall to possibly get past Jeffries, as Ian's definitely a quick guy.
And as we say that, we've actually got Tam Hamill and Ryan Brown fighting for position here, 5th and 6th respectively. And Ryan Brown, I think, tried to send it down the inside of the hairpin in the middle of the circuit, and Tam covered him off. Ryan losing it a little bit on the grass there, and he nearly lost the back end. Ian Hall running out wide as well on the exit of the final turn. These 2 drivers now, Tam Hamill, Ryan Brown, going side by side as they go down the start-finish straight. Tam being pushed slightly wide, but they're still neck and neck as they come down to the first turn.
Who's going to hit it on the brakes? It's all going to be down on the brakes into T1. Still neck and neck. I think Ryan just about makes it on the inside lines, keeping it, holding it through.
Yeah, Tam got a little bit loose on the way out of that corner there. And that's actually giving Green a bit of a chance to catch back up with the field. Really unfortunate. He was doing so well on that first lap leading away, and then I think that final couple of corners he made a mistake, and that really opened the door to the guys in front. Jeffries now 1.7 seconds off Haskell, so Haskell making perhaps kind of get away from everybody now while he can, because I think he knows that the likes of Coleman Corkery and Ian Hall are going to really chase down. At the back we've got Ian Richards there at the back. He's not had a good start to his race, but you know, there's another race to come, we might see some improvements from him yet.
Yeah, hoping maybe in the future race he can get a bit of a better start and not hopefully get too caught up in the mix.
Corkery's got past Jeffries, and Ian Hall's got past Jeffries as well. They both made that move on Jeffries. Now that's going to put Haskell under an immense amount of pressure, because we've seen in the last few races, Ryan, Corkery is one of those drivers that just, once he's got someone in his sights, he hunts them down and doesn't really stop until he's past the person, really.
Yeah, he sees the red mist and just goes for it. No fear, no stopping. He's going to really try and hunt James down here.
We've got a car that's come off at the back end of the circuit. Looks like Green went off, but just Jeffries has fallen massively back from second to now. I'm thinking that's sixth.
Fifth? I think he's just sat in front of Tam Hamill there in fifth, I believe.
As they cross the line, we're going to see Tam Hamill now in seventh, Jeffries in sixth, E Green in fifth. So yeah, as they come across the line, we kind of see the relatives work out. Corkery now 2.4 away from Haskell. Ian Hall 7/10 away from Corkery. So the gap actually opening up at the back of the field there. Tam Hamill getting a little bit loose as we watch from his onboard there. From outside the car there, just a little bit loose on the exit of that corner. Haskell running away at the front, but it's this battle between two title contenders. These guys fighting for what could possibly be the first Ginetta GT4 title. These two guys have showcased consistency, I think, over the last few races, that showcases that these guys are fighting for that win, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch the lines they take for that middle sector. It's such a swooping two set of corners. You can either take it really tight or really wide and cut in on the apex. Just interesting to see both drivers taking a completely different line, trying to find that best exit speed. But this is going to be a really good battle, because Ian and Ryan both really high in the championship, and I'm sure they're going to be wanting to get any points out of this race. Any points mean points in the championship, so get as high as possible and take it through to the end.
On board with...
corner. It's like Coleman Corkery's doing quite well. They're pulling away slightly, possibly here from Ian.
Like someone ran wide there. I think that was Haskell running wide on the exit of the final turn. But Ian actually catching up with Corkery here a little bit.
Yeah, I think the slipstream actually works quite well on this track, because we've seen in Monza obviously hit the top end quite quickly, but at Zandvoort it's not the longest straight, so I think the slipstream does sort of work quite well here.
Yeah, agreed. And I think we've got Corkery really getting the back end loose, but doing a great job. These guys are actually catching up with Haskell a little bit now, so I think that pressure from everybody is starting to build a little bit. Yeah,
Haskell's really going to try and get his defensive driving on, I think, in about 4 laps time, because these guys are closing in and closing in fast.
And there you can see the gap from the helicopter above. That gap really not huge between these guys at the front here for second, third and fourth. Ryan is going to really be hunting down, I think, at the back there of the pack to try and make some inroads, try and make some good inroads early on. To try and get some points back here, because I think this is a chance for Ryan Brown to build himself up and build a nice little points buffer to Chavez, who isn't here this weekend. So that could do Ryan Brown a world of good, actually. And it looks as though they're really closing in as they go through the last few turns of this lap. Corkery really struggling to keep Ian, I think, behind slightly. I think that's actually slowed both of them down and given Ryan the chance to come and fight. He's actually going to look at Ian perhaps this lap. This could be it.
Yeah, I think Ryan was really close there on coming down the back straight. He's going to possibly move to the inside, hit the brakes, make it move.
That was
he's almost gone to the rear of him.
That was extremely close. Corkery there, but Ian having to give up that space a little bit. Ryan now pulling away from Ian. I think he wanted to get that move done, and Ian's now gone down the inside. A very last-minute move there from Ian, but great move all the same.
Yeah, luckily made it stick. I think he just tapped that curb on the inside, but the car settled, managed to swing it round. He's actually made a bit of a gap now as well.
Meanwhile, further at the back of the pack, we've got Ethan Green actually doing a great job now in 5th place. Nice gap behind to Tam Hamill, Dustin Jeffries. As he goes off a little bit there, so he's made a couple of mistakes, but keeping the car mostly on circuit. That's a really impressive drive from Ethan so far. Tam Hamill and Dustin Jeffries fighting it out for the lower positions, P6, P7 respectively. Dustin Jeffries has done a fantastic job these last few races and showcases that when he's chasing down someone like Tam Hamill, who isn't a slow driver in this series. So it's showcasing that he's got the speed and the consistency, and he's doing a great job, Ryan.
Yeah, he's doing really, really well, keeping up with Tam. Tam's a really good driver, really quick, so it's showing that, as like you say, he's got the speed, got the pace. Just unfortunate that he's a bit far down the pack at the moment. Hopefully, feature race he can maybe pull something out the bag, get a good win or possibly a podium position. But we'll have to wait and see.
Ian Richards,
Ian Richards just sat at the back there, 8th position. Doing really well,
carrying,
sticking with it.
He's carrying some damage, I think, on the front of that car. I think that bonnet, the hood at the front is moving around a little bit from air resistance, so perhaps he has hit a wall at some point, and that's really cost him. But we'll see as he continues whether he decides to pit or not. We'll see, I guess. As Ryan Brown's just got past Ian, so this battle between these two guys, it's actually letting Corkery and Haskell drive away. You have to question whether at some point one of these guys is going to perhaps wait a little bit longer to make another move and sort of let them both catch up to the cars in front, or whether this battle is going to go on race long.
If from the looks of it, I think they're both just fighting for the position. They're really not wanting to let each other get away from one another. Obviously, Colin Corkery's really now trying to run away and trying to catch James at the front. But these two, I think, possibly using the draft on the straight, flowing in between each other, might create some speed, might get them back up to the Colin Corkery there. But it's going to be interesting as Ian's got a bit of slipstream coming down the back straight into the 3rd sector chicane here. I don't think he's going to make any moves. No, he's not really close enough. Moving now to the last couple of corners. As we know, the slipstream here looks quite good on the final straight, so Ian's going to try and get a good run out, good exit of the last corner here. Chuck it in the 4th gear. Not really a flat out corner, I don't think, in these cars. You have to, as you can see, Ryan just letting off there, just a tad bit, just to get the car swung round.
Yeah.
There's not really seeing Ian close too much.
The gap currently, this is the closest gap on the on track at the minute, Ryan, is this battle between Ryan Brown and Ian Hall. Pretty close battle right now.
Yeah, I think Ian's really pushing. Of course, tyres to come into effect as well, as he makes a pretty late brake dive there. But the tyres will come into play. They'll be wearing quite hard now. I think this track does wear the tyres quite hard. Yeah,
absolutely. It does. It's definitely a tyre sensitive track, this circuit. Haskell, in the meantime, as we say that, 2.6 seconds leading now.
That's a big gap.
That's a big gap for a driver that, so far this season, hasn't really been there. He's been in the odd podium position, but to be leading a race like this is a difference, I'd say.
Yeah, he's really shown some really good pace here and confidence as well, I'd say. He's obviously happy, sat there in position 1. just cruising along, open air. I think he's sitting happy.
And we've lost, Ian Hall's fallen off the back of Ryan Brown there in that middle sector of the circuit. He lost his rear end and had to exit towards the gravel, unfortunately. So the Euro and Enduro Motorsports driver really struggling to keep on the back of the pack there. That's given Ryan Brown that chance to start hunting down Coleman Corkery now.
Yeah, he's got some breathing room, some open air. He's actually closed up quite close now onto Coleman Corkery. The gap's quite small. They're coming down the start-finish straight. I think on the brakes is where you make the most time up here on this corner, especially. Brakes on these cars are pretty good. You can really swing the car in and get it hooked round. Don't want to go too wide there on that exit. Catch the grass and be a whole world of horrible things.
Yeah, he's really closing in on green in front. That gap has shrunk already in the first couple of corners. So could we see potentially Ryan Brown and Coleman Corkery going at it here over the next 3 laps? Roughly, we've got about 3 or 4 laps left to go, Ryan, as the timer's counting down. And yeah, is this potentially, is Haskell now 2.8 seconds away? Is that possibly a big enough window to hold off these guys behind?
Well, looking at it here, Ryan's really trying to make the move. He goes slightly wide there. I think it's going to come down to the last few laps as to whether Ryan can get past and make a move. But I don't think there's going to be enough time to close that gap between him and James in front there.
It is a great battle between these two guys right now, as Ryan Brown now only 0.4 of a second behind Corkery. He's really closed in. He's clearly got the pace. And if he passes in this lap, Ryan, this could be a battle for the win.
Yeah, if he's going to get him on this straight here, this is going to be a last dive 3 laps, important 3 laps for both drivers to try and keep each other on the podium. They don't want to push each other out because then that's all the time wasted. Need to be careful.
Absolutely, they do need to be careful indeed. He's sit on board now with Ryan Brown as he chases down Corkery into this turn. And this circuit, a really tight, twisty circuit with these cars, showcasing that it's really quite fun to drive. Ryan has to go deep there to cut back on Corkery. That's actually given Corkery a little bit of breathing room, and that could, with only 3 laps remaining, including the one they're on right now, you'd have to say Ian Hall now 3.6 seconds has fallen back off Ryan Brown. That's probably not going to be caught back up now in these next few laps, unless something huge happens.
Yeah, unless someone makes a big mistake. This corner here especially is very difficult if you catch the inside or the outside just there on the left. It's really going to throw you off. I think all the drivers are looking pretty content at the moment, all focused. Everyone's really trying to close this gap. This middle sector here, I think Ryan's maybe got the drop on him slightly in this sector, and then the chicane after here. I think the braking, Ryan's got a bit of an advantage on the brakes, as we're going to see him coming down the back straight here. Gap's closing every lap. See where we are after the chicane on the brakes. You see there the gap closes massively there.
Huge.
Brakes.
Yeah, in fact there is no particular relative there at that point as they went through that bit, so they were nose to tail. Ryan Brown really hunting down Corkery. This could be a really good strategic win for strategic win, not necessarily the race win, but definitely a strategic win for Ryan Brown to gain some points and pull away from the guys in the table that aren't here this weekend. As Ryan Brown is he gonna look? He's not gonna look. He's gonna sit behind Corkery for yet another lap. We've got 2 laps remaining. Haskell currently your race leader on lap 10. Corkery 2.5 seconds behind in second. Ryan Brown currently, this is the battle we're seeing. Ryan Brown and Coleman Corkery, they're fighting it out for P2. Ryan Brown in P3. Ian Hall now in P4. He's 3 seconds off the guys in front. I'd safely say that 4th is going to be a solid points position for Ian Hall in this battle. Only a position behind Ryan, really, even despite that mistake that he's had earlier on. Ethan Green running in 5th with Tam Hamill just behind him. 8 seconds behind him, sorry, in P6. Not having a great race, Tam Hamill. Dustin Jeffries is 5.4 seconds behind Tam, so the gaps behind at the rear of the field, Ryan, they've opened up quite a bit. Ian Richards also has retired from this race, unfortunately.
Yeah, the gaps, as you can see, as James said, they're definitely increasing. I think tyres are coming into play, really wearing out. Ian Hall, I don't think is going to have the time to claw back any time back on the Ryan or Colin Corcoran unless a big mistake's made. Anything can happen right now in these last coming laps. I think we're going to try and see Ryan really push now. He really needs to make his decision what he wants to do. If he wants to get past or just hold the position for the points.
Yeah.
Like I say, any points in the podium is good. A good amount of points in coming to the feature race. But it's going to be interesting. Will Coleman Corcoran try and defend, or will he just let him through?
Well, as we head on to the final lap, Haskell now leading. Could Haskell win his first race of the season? Corkery in second, fighting extremely hard. They've actually closed a little bit on Haskell, so Haskell hasn't ran away as fast as he might have wanted to. Only 1.9 seconds on this final lap, but that could be a big enough gap to hold off the guys behind. Ryan Brown is also doing a great job and is chasing him down. So yeah, this is a great battle going on between these two.
Yeah, I just don't think Ryan's got the time to do it. He's quite far behind at the moment. Yes, I think he's got the advantage on the brakes, but Colin Corcoran's definitely got the pace to hold him there. You can see the gap doesn't really close coming out of sector 1. Sector 2, I think the times are pretty even as well. But I think James has got this in the bag. He's done really well.
Oh, Ryan Brown's gone off.
Ryan's gone wide.
Ryan Brown's gone off. He's actually gone off the circuit. So that means that Coleman Corkery is going to come back. That now means Ian Hall could actually come back here on Ryan Brown on this final lap. Haskell's going to come through the final couple of corners in a moment. We'll catch up with him in a minute. But this battle at the back of the field, this is the middle of the field, sorry. Ian Hall, Ryan Brown, the battle was going on at the beginning of the race. It's now going to be even closer towards the middle of the race.
Yeah, I bet Ian's heart's really pumping now. He's got Ron right in his sights. Will he try and make a move here on the... Oh, it looks like he's got a bit squiggly there on the coming out of the chicane there. Last couple of corners. Don't think he's going to have the time to do it. But as we see, on board now with James. Absolutely brilliant here. First win in the Ginettas.
Fantastic
really good race
that
there.
driver. And Coleman Corkery coming home in second. Ryan Brown just in the back of the shot there. Comes home third place. Ian Hall in fourth. Ethan Green is going to come home fifth. Great performance from Ethan Green. Dustin Jeffries in P6. Again, another great performance. Actually overtook Tam Hamill at the end there. So I don't know what happened with Tam Hamill. Looks like he's got some damage on the front of his car, so he's struggled there. Ian Richards, again, like I say, retired from the event earlier on in the race, but great first race from these guys, and a fantastic race from all of them.
Yeah, really good racing there from everyone. Some really good positions made for people. As you see, James having his first win. Congratulations to him. Really good job. Stuck it out till the end. Never gave up. Really good driving there. Shame to see some of the incidents that were there on the track, but it's racing. These happen. It's good to see the drivers stick it out to the end.
Absolutely. So, guys, what we're going to do is now we're going to take a quick 5-10 minute break, and then we'll come back for the feature race for you very soon. So we're just going to play some adverts for you very quickly, and then we'll be right back.